Boston Celtics versus Philadelphia 76ers. The lights will burn bright in Philadelphia tonight as the unbeaten 76ers, 4-0 second in the East, welcome the reeling Boston Celtics, 2-3 10th in the East, to Xfinity Mobile Arena. It's a rematch charged with revenge and rhythm. Boston still stung from its overtime defeat in their last meeting, and Philadelphia surging with early season command. With a nearly 60-40 edge and win probability leaning toward the home team, this matchup feels less like a regular season test and more like a statement game, a chance for one side to prove dominance and the other to reclaim identity. Boston arrives trying to stop the bleeding. Their offense remains potent, but inconsistency has dragged them into an early slump. Philadelphia, on the other hand, is purring, perfect at home, unbeaten overall, and led by a point guard playing out of his mind. This one's more than a game. It's a clash of rhythm versus resolve. The tale of the tape is all about tempo and precision. Boston enters averaging 114.2 points per game, hitting 44.8% from the field, 34.8% from deep, and 75.8% at the line. The Celtics spread the floor with motion, pushing 21.2 assists a night, but also surrendering 11.6 turnovers, an indicator of their feast or famine flow. Defensively, they average 8.8 steals and 5.8 blocks, showing bursts of disruption but not sustained stops. Philadelphia is thriving on pure offensive efficiency. 129.3 points per game on a blistering 49.8% shooting, 38.8% from three, and 82.7% at the stripe. The Sixers' passing is sharp, 25.8 assists per game, and their control on the glass, 43.5 rebounds, keeps the tempo theirs. They're also defending with purpose, averaging 7.3 blocks and 6.3 steals, a reflection of both rim protection and perimeter quickness. Each team's identity starts with its star. Jaylen Brown powers Boston, averaging 26.8 points, 5.2 rebounds, and elite efficiency, 52.2% from the field and 46.9% from three, with steady support from White and Simons. Maxey, meanwhile, is exploding for 37.5 points and 8.2 assists on 47.4% from deep, controlling tempo and breaking defenses. Embiid's 16.3 points and Bona's 2.2 blocks add the interior force Boston lacks. That's the defining battle tonight. Boston's perimeter firepower versus Philadelphia's balanced attacking rhythm. Momentum favors Philadelphia. Boston has lost 3 of its last 5, showing scoring bursts in wins over Cleveland and New Orleans, but struggling with defensive lapses in losses to Detroit and New York. Their success hinges on pace and spacing. When those fade, their confidence follows. Philadelphia is on a roll, 4 straight wins, all against strong offensive teams. They've topped 130 points in back-to-back games, including a 139-134 overtime thriller over Washington and a 138-124 win against Orlando. Maxey and Edgecombe fuel their transition game, while sharp ball movement and late-game poise showcase a team playing with confidence and swagger. It all centers on Jaylen Brown versus Tyrese Maxey, rhythm against speed. Brown's steady scoring and elite efficiency make him Boston's anchor, hitting 52.2% from the field and 46.9% from three. Maxey counters with explosiveness and fearlessness, averaging 37.5 points and 8.2 assists while shooting 47.4% from deep. If Brown defines Boston's structure, Maxey fuels Philadelphia's chaos. Constant pressure that keeps defenders on their heels. With Embiid anchoring the paint, the Sixers' spacing can quickly expose Boston's defensive gaps. This matchup hinges on discipline. Boston thrives on motion, balance, and drive and kick spacing, but turnovers remain a risk against Philly's active defense. To stay competitive, the Celtics need Kata's interior control and rebounding help from White and Minot to contain Embiid and Drummond inside. Philadelphia's edge is efficiency and control. They capitalize on mistakes, moving the ball fluidly under Maxey with 26 assists to just 12 turnovers. Drummond's rebounding, Edgecombe's steals, and Bona's rim protection anchor their defense, while the bench sustains pace and spacing when rotations change. X factor, perimeter defense. If Boston contains Maxey and forces tough jumpers, they can slow the game and grind it out. But if Maxey penetrates and Oubre or Edgecombe heat up, Philly could pull away quickly. Pritchard's playmaking and Hauser's shooting will be key for Boston's second unit. Final call. Boston will compete, but Philadelphia's cohesion and efficiency stand out. Maxey should set the tone, Embiid will control the paint, and the Sixers' depth should outlast a short-handed Celtics squad without Tatum. Momentum favors Denver, but emotion leans Portland's way. The Blazers are beginning to believe, and belief can be dangerous. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Philadelphia 76ers winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. New York Knicks versus Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls return to the United Center tonight, riding a perfect 4-0 start, intent on defending their home floor against a New York Knicks team searching for consistency early in the new season. Chicago sits atop the Central Division, undefeated and brimming with balance, while New York's 2-2 mark leaves them second in the Atlantic, still gauging their ceiling after an uneven opening stretch. The energy inside the United Center will be electric. A red-hot contender against a proud challenger trying to steady its rhythm. The odds tilt slightly toward the home team, but both sides bring enough firepower to turn this into a statement game for the Eastern Conference hierarchy. Chicago's story so far has been one of chemistry and control. The Bulls average 119.8 points per game on 48.9% shooting, fueled by crisp ball movement and dominance on the glass, where they pull in 48.3 rebounds per night. Their 30.5 assists per game underline a team unselfish to its core, and they're posting strong defensive numbers with 7.5 steals and 4.0 blocks per outing. Josh Giddey leads the attack with 19.5 points, 7.8 assists, and 44.8% from the field, while Nikola Vucevic commands the interior with 18.3 points, 13.3 rebounds, and steady efficiency inside. Defensively, Matas Buzelis and Trey Jones have been relentless. Buzelis with a block per game, and Jones averaging 3.0 steals, setting a tone of aggression on the perimeter. New York enters as a team of talent searching for cohesion. The Knicks average 110.5 points while shooting 40.6% from the floor and 48.5% from deep, relying heavily on isolation scoring and second-chance effort. Jalen Brunson has carried the offensive torch, erupting for 31.8 points and 5.0 assists per game on 48.3% shooting. Karl Anthony Towns has been a vital complement, adding 13.5 rebounds and 22.3 points of his own, though his game-time status adds uncertainty to New York's interior presence. OG Anunoby's defense has been a pillar, leading the team with 2.2 steals per game, while the Knicks' overall rebounding numbers, 49.5 per game, have kept them afloat against more efficient opponents. The defining clash tonight: Chicago's fluid offensive execution against New York's star-driven attack. It's a contrast of motion and method, collective rhythm versus individual brilliance. The Bulls enter in peak form, winning their first 4 games, all by double digits over Sacramento, Atlanta, Orlando, and Detroit. They've shot above 48% each time, with Giddey directing the offense and Vucevic anchoring both ends. Their poise late in games stands out, combining tight defense with quick transition execution. New York, meanwhile, has alternated results. Wins over Boston and Cleveland showed flashes of potential, especially Brunson's scoring clinic and Bridges' perimeter efficiency. But losses to Milwaukee and Miami exposed lingering lapses on defense and cold shooting stretches. The Knicks have the talent to swing games late, but their inconsistency in closing sequences has cost them rhythm and flow. Coming off 2 straight defeats, they arrive in Chicago needing a recalibration in energy and execution. This matchup centers on Jalen Brunson versus Josh Giddey, 2 guards leading in contrasting styles. Brunson is a scoring craftsman, averaging nearly 32 points with 48.3% shooting, blending mid-range precision with elite control. Giddey, meanwhile, drives Chicago's balance with 19.5 points, 7.8 assists, and 7.3 rebounds, thriving as a playmaker who now shoots 42.9% from 3. It's Brunson's aggression versus Giddey's orchestration, and whichever rhythm wins could decide the game. Chicago's strength comes from depth and discipline. Vucevic and Buzelis anchor the paint, while Giddey and Jones manage tempo and turnovers. Their crisp ball movement stretches defenses and wears opponents down. New York will counter by slowing the pace, letting Brunson control flow and using Towns' pick-and-pop range to create space. But unless the Knicks hit from outside and find steady bench scoring, Brunson and Towns could face too much pressure to carry the load. X factors. Chicago leans on Trey Jones's defensive pressure and Buzelis's sharp cutting, while New York needs Anunoby's two-way impact and Bridges' perimeter shooting to keep pace. Rebounding and shot quality will decide control. The team that wins the glass likely wins the game. Chicago continues its hot start, their cohesion and balance proving too much for a Knicks squad still sinking its stars. Expect a tight first half, but the Bulls' ball movement and depth should wear down New York's defense late. Chicago stays perfect at home, while New York leaves with lessons in rhythm, resilience, and the value of chemistry over isolation. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Chicago Bulls winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Utah Jazz versus Phoenix Suns. Phoenix welcomes Utah in a meeting of 2 teams heading in opposite directions early in the Western Conference race. The Suns, 1-4 and desperate to halt a 4-game skid, return home searching for rhythm and identity. The Jazz, 2-2 and sitting mid-pack in the Northwest Division, look to build on their offensive surge behind Lauri Markkanen's scorching start. The win predictor tilts slightly toward Phoenix, but Utah already owns a thrilling overtime victory in their first encounter. Stakes feel higher than the records suggest. One side fighting to sustain momentum, the other to stop the slide before it defines their season. Utah enters averaging a league-leading 128.3 points per game, fueled by balanced ball movement and perimeter spacing. The Jazz hit 46.8% from the field and 35.0% from deep, with 30 assists per night powering their high-tempo offense. They dominate the glass at 51.5 rebounds per game, aided by Walker Kessler's presence inside. Their defense adds 8.8 steals and 5.0 blocks, but occasionally surrenders transition buckets when pace outruns control. Phoenix, meanwhile, averages 118.0 points with 42.8% shooting and 28.4 assists. Despite solid free throw efficiency at 78.8%, the Suns' struggles come from the perimeter, just 22.6% from 3. And from rebounding, where they trail Utah 51.5 to 42.8. Devin Booker's 29.2 points and 6.0 assists drive the offense, while Dylan Brooks' 19.3 PPG, 2.7 steals, anchors the defense. The core battle is clear: Utah's offensive fluidity versus Phoenix's fight to rediscover shooting rhythm. Recent form magnifies that contrast. Utah has split its last 5, alternating high-scoring thrillers and narrow defeats. They edged Phoenix 138 to 134 in overtime before falling by 2 to Sacramento and 4 to the Clippers. Proof of a potent but still developing closing unit. The Suns, conversely, have dropped 4 straight, each loss marked by defensive lapses and cold stretches from deep. Their lone bright spot came in an early win over Utah, but since then, Phoenix has conceded 120-plus points in 4 consecutive outings. Momentum belongs to the visitors, urgency belongs to the hosts. The centerpiece duel is pure star power. Lauri Markkanen versus Devin Booker. Markkanen is averaging 34.0 points and 10.2 rebounds, hitting 50.6% from the field, 40.0% from three, and 91.4% at the line. Elite shot-making paired with relentless activity on the boards. His pick-and-pop chemistry with Keyonte George, 22.3 PPG, 9.2 assists, defines Utah's offensive flow. Booker, equally commanding, puts up 29.2 points on 47.4% shooting, adding 6.0 assists and 82% from the stripe. He plays with surgical patience, dictating tempo and punishing switches. Markkanen's efficiency and range-stretch defenses, Booker's precision and control steady Phoenix. Whoever bends the opposing scheme first could dictate the night's rhythm. Tactically, this game hinges on rebounding and shot creation. Utah's 51.5 boards per game and front-court combination of Markkanen and Kessler, 10.2 rebounds per game, 2.2 blocks, give them the edge in interior control. Phoenix will rely on Mark Williams' activity, 10.0 RPG, 1.0 blocks, to counter that. Transition tempo favors Utah. They move the ball with confidence and score in waves. Phoenix must slow pace, tighten defensive rotations, and capitalize on half-court sets through Booker and Grayson Allen's perimeter spacing. Turnovers could be decisive. Utah averages 17.5 per game, while Phoenix commits 17.2. Whichever team cleans that up earns crucial possessions. Bench depth slightly favors the Jazz, whose rotation offers consistent scoring from Sensabaugh and Mikhailiuk, while the Suns' reserves have struggled to maintain offensive continuity, often fading during key stretches when the starters rest, and allowing Utah to quietly swing momentum their way. The X factors: Keyonte George's playmaking and Dillon Brooks' perimeter defense. If George dictates tempo and limits turnovers, Utah's offense can outgun Phoenix. If Brooks disrupts Markkanen's rhythm, the Suns can flip momentum early. Utah's offensive balance, rebounding command, and late-game shot-making carry them through a competitive contest. Phoenix's fight keeps it close, but the Jazz's composure and versatility close the deal. Expect another high-scoring showdown, and Utah to leave Footprint Center with their third win and a growing sense that their rebuild might be turning into something bigger. The cohesion between Markkanen, Sexton, and Clarkson continues to evolve, giving Utah multiple scoring layers and consistent poise under pressure. If their defensive rotations hold firm and spacing stays sharp, this could mark a defining early-season statement win. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Utah Jazz winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. New Orleans Pelicans versus LA Clippers. The stage is set in Inglewood as the New Orleans Pelicans, winless at 0-4, look to end their slide against the 2-2 LA Clippers, who have yet to lose at home. It's a matchup of urgency versus rhythm. A young Pelicans squad desperate to steady itself after 4 straight losses facing a Clippers team, retooling around veteran leadership and early-season poise. The odds favor Los Angeles heavily, and for good reason. The Clippers' blend of discipline and shooting precision contrasts sharply with New Orleans' unsettled execution. With early-season standings already beginning to take shape, this is more than just another October contest. It's a tone-setter for both directions in the Western Conference race. The tale of the tape shows 2 contrasting team identities. New Orleans averages 104.0 points per game on 40.8% shooting, with 19.5 assists and 40.8 rebounds. Their three-point rhythm, 27.3%, and free throw conversion, 73.5%, lag behind league pace, and turnovers, 21.3 per game, continue to undermine their offensive flow. LA, by contrast, scores 107.5 points on 44.0% shooting, moves the ball effectively with 24.0 assists per night, and rebounds with stability at 44.0 boards. Their three-point accuracy, 34.8%, and free throw efficiency, 81.5%, illustrate a balanced attack built on veteran control. Zion Williamson, 21.7 ppg, 4.7 apg, 3.0 stl, 46.8 fg%, powers the Pelicans through force and transition energy, while James Harden, 21.3 ppg, 8.0 apg, 49.0 fg%, 92.6 ft%, orchestrates LA's tempo with clinical command. Ivica Zubac, 8.0 rpg, 61.3 fg%, anchors the paint for the Clippers, and Eve Missy's rim protection, 1.0 blk, 6.0 reb, remains a rare defensive bright spot for New Orleans. The central theme, the Pelicans' chaotic athleticism meets the Clippers' precision and structure, an unmistakable strength versus discipline duel. Momentum tells its own story. The Pelicans have stumbled through 5 straight heartbreaks, each one tightening the pressure. After losing to Denver and Boston in back-to-back high-scoring contests, New Orleans fell narrowly to San Antonio, Memphis, and Orlando, often leading before fading in closing minutes. Their scoring has held steady, but defensive execution late in games has unraveled. Conversely, the Clippers arrive steady but not complacent. Home wins over Portland and Golden State have displayed defensive sharpness, but road losses at Phoenix and Utah exposed inconsistency on rotations. They've averaged a modest 107 points per game but have tightened their defensive clamps at home, holding opponents under 100 points in both wins at Intuit Dome. This recent rhythm gives LA both the composure and confidence edge entering Friday night. All eyes turn to the featured duel, Zion Williamson versus James Harden, 2 stars commanding their offenses in radically different ways. Williamson's power game drives the Pelicans' identity, averaging 21.7 points on 46.8% shooting while contributing 7.2 rebounds and 4.7 assists. His relentless rim pressure contrasts with Harden's calculated control, 21.3 points, 8.0 assists, 49% from the field, and a scorching 92.6% at the line. Harden dictates pace, balances scoring with orchestration, and leverages LA's spacing to perfection. Zion, meanwhile, thrives on bursts of momentum and transition dominance, often willing the Pelicans back into games. The question is whether his force can overcome Harden's orchestral command and the Clippers' layered defense. Strategically, this matchup hinges on execution. The Clippers' offensive spacing and half-court balance, led by Harden, Kawhi Leonard, 21.5 points per game, and Zubac, should test New Orleans' interior coverage. LA's disciplined rebounding and assist-to-turnover ratio, 1.4, position them to control pace, limit transition, and force New Orleans into half-court sets where the Pelicans' three-point struggles have persisted. For New Orleans, pace and disruption are their path. Their 9.5 steals per game and transition bursts behind Zion and Jordan Poole must create chaos. With Kevon Looney questionable and DeJounte Murray out, depth becomes an issue. LA's bench, anchored by Derrick Jones Jr., Brook Lopez, and Chris Paul, provides needed stability. The X factor is Trey Murphy III's perimeter shot. If his 36% from deep heats up, it could free Williamson inside. For LA, Zubac's rebounding and Harden's pick-and-roll control should set the early tone. The Clippers' balance and composure at home should outweigh New Orleans' inconsistency and shallow depth. Harden's playmaking and Leonard's mid-range efficiency anchor a steady offense, while the Pelicans' turnovers and shaky spacing remain issues. Until they find late-game focus, their talent won't convert to wins. The Clippers stay in control and defend home court. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is LA Clippers winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box.